Good evening, Phillies fans, and welcome back to the Phightins Phinal, a Phillies postgame show here on the Edge of Philly Sports with your boy MattyB on the call. And man, there's a lot to talk about here. The Phillies went off on Tyler Phillips can't pitch, and Kyle Schwarber can hit home runs, and pretty much the story of the night. Phillies find a way to win this thing 10-9 in a wild game at the Rogers Center north of the border. I guess we can start with Kyle Schwarber, the first Philly to hit to have 3 home runs in multiple games in a single season in Phillies history. 5-hit night for Kyle as he kind of led the attack. Phillies got down early and they battled back. I mean, there's so much to get into here. I don't really know where to start. I guess I'll let you guys drive that train as we get through this, but let me remind everybody on this program, or on this network, this program is brought to you by the good folks over at Dolan's Philly Sports Trips, Sherry's Tickets, and Cherry Injury Law. So let's head over to the sounding board, as I like to call it, and see what you guys have to say. Could be the most frustrating first 8 at-bats I've seen in a while. Steve, you got to be more specific. There was a lot of frustrating things going on in this game, as well as some positive things. This game had it all, man. Except for pitching. If you were looking for a pitching battle, this was not the game for you. But if you were looking for a lot of offense, a lot of home runs, 7 in the game total. If you were looking for big hits, big moments where players came up big and where players came up small, then this was the game for you. So you got to be more specific. That is the most thrilling regular season home run I've seen from this team in years. I imagine you're referring to the go-ahead eventual game-winning home run in the 9th inning, Schwarber's third of the game. 114 miles off the bat on the way to the Marriott out there in right field. It didn't go through into the hotel, obviously, but it sure as hell was looking like it was on its way as he got every inch of that ball and just capped off a great night for Kyle Schwarber. I've been off. Kyle has not allowed me to be very critical of him this year because up to recently, he's been one of the most consistent hitters in this lineup. But the one thing missing from his arsenal was power this year. I didn't mind because he was getting on base. But tonight, he definitely made up for that power outage as he was just on it from the beginning. Again, 5 hits total and 6 RBIs total and 3 home runs. Just an amazing night for him. I hope Harper is okay. Give him off tomorrow and win it with the pitching. They're going to have to probably win it with the pitching anyway, Steve. They used 7 pitchers tonight. And obviously, we're going to talk about that, too. He came back out in the 9th. You're referring to the play in the top of the 9th. He came back out in the bottom of the 9th. Didn't seem too worse for wear. It is an afternoon game tomorrow. Could be one of those scheduled losses, load management days that Topper is very known for. We'll see. Obviously, it's a day after night game before heading down to South Florida, but we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if he didn't play. Schwarber, 5 for 6. Yeah, amazing night. Absolutely amazing night. They said something in the telecast that I actually wasn't even aware of, that I guess 23 players in Phillies history have had 4 hits or 4 extra base hits in a single game, but no one's ever hit 5 in a single game in the history of the Phillies. That's pretty cool. That one was too close. Chris, what do you mean? The game? Because the game was out of control from the very beginning. There was nothing close about this baseball game. There was nothing for certain about this baseball game. The Phillies, on the Kyle Schwarber home run in the first, go up. They left some meat on the first inning bone, and we'll get into the runners in scoring position tonight as well, but they left some meat on the bone. Tyler Phillips comes out in the bottom of the first. This is an absolute disaster. Goes a half inning, 32 pitches, 6 runs. Doesn't make it out of the first inning. Phillies find themselves down 6-1. And then throughout the course of this game, were able to battle back. And even as they were chipping away at this lead throughout the game, before their own pitching failed them yet again, but as they were chipping away at this, you wanted more from them because there was more opportunities to get this thing closer quicker. And that was the frustrating part about me in this game. Is I wasn't necessarily frustrated about them being down 6-1. If you're going to go down 6-1, the best inning to do that is in the first. So you have 8 more at-bats to try to get back into this thing. What was more frustrating for me to watch throughout this game was the fact that the Phillies had opportunities, even though they were chipping away at the lead. They had multiple opportunities to get back in it quicker. and they were unable to get that big hit until later in the game, which it eventually came. But that was what was more frustrating to me than anything about the score. I mean, this was one of those games. This was one of those games where the baseball gods curse and reward people all at the same time to watch, because you get to see some great hitting, you get to see some great individual efforts, but there's not much in baseball physics involved in this game. It was pretty much anyone's game. The Toronto Blue Jay bullpen is a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Chris Bassett pitched as long as he could, probably longer than he wanted to. He wasn't really that well. The Phillies were jumping on him. They got to him. They got to him early and often. But again, they could have ran Chris Bassett out of that game prior to the fifth inning if they took the opportunities that they were given. They didn't, and they eventually got to him. And once they got into the Blue Jay bullpen, I mean, it was all she wrote. I think the Blue Jays used 8 pitchers tonight. Phillies used 7. So it was one of those types of games. So using the word too close, I'm not going to, that's not a word that comes to mind about this game. MattyB, yeah. Why was Walker in this game? He should not have been. Why not? Tyler Phillips was. This was the Phillies pitching reclamation night. You got Tyler Phillips up here on the September call-up, and then they went to Walker at one point, and then Jose Alvarado made an appearance. I mean, in a game like this, where it's out of control, and it's wild, why not? Walker is your new long guy. This is the game that Walker's going to pitch. I was actually surprised they didn't go to Walker right away. I thought they were going to go to him right after they got Phillips out of there. I was surprised they went to Banks in the first inning. That was the most surprising part of that. Not that Walker pitched. I was surprised he didn't pitch in the first inning, because that was a tailor-made Taijuan Walker situation right there. Down 6-1, first inning. It's a long man's job right now. Taijuan Walker, you're up. What else do we got to lose at this point? So Taijuan Walker was in this game because this is what Taijuan Walker is now. And, of course, he comes in and gives up a couple home runs or whatever it was, gives up a couple runs, and is just completely ineffective. But there's no other place for him to go now, unless it's out of the rotation completely, which I know we all have our opinion about that. But Walker was in this game because it was a tailor-made game for Taijuan Walker. He was in because he was in the bullpen. Yeah, absolutely. Brewers and Cardinals in extra innings. Yeah, Brewers and Cardinals in extra innings, but more importantly, the Braves and Mets both won tonight. So the Phillies, as they were slugging this thing out, trying to come back, really, thankfully, they did come back because they did not lose the game tonight, and because both the Braves and the Mets won. So that's very good. Christopher Sanchez is going to get the start tomorrow for the Phillies. 34 hits altogether tonight. Absolutely. Cardinals are up in the 12th. Chris, I don't know why we care about the Brewers and Cardinals. I don't know, but first Philly with 2 3-home runs in the same season in the modern era. First Philly to hit 5 hit games in the same season in the modern era. Yeah, it was one of those nights, man. Maybe his best offensive production ever as a Philly, if you look at it holistically. And it was good to see because he was struggling up until this point. He was pretty consistent all season. Hit a little bit of a dead area there, and he comes out here tonight with the big power and the big night, the big RBI night, the big hit night, the big home run night. Raised his batting average, I think, 7 points in this game. So absolutely good to see that. Seeing Phillips pitch made me miss Walker. Yeah, and it really, Brandon, it really makes me wonder. I know the September call-up is not like it was back when baseball was pure. I know you're not going from 25 men to 40 men, and you're calling up not only extra players, but you're calling up extra folding chairs so you can line up and down the dugout with, because you don't have enough room. I know you're only going from 26 to 28. But in a situation like this, and I have a feeling, and I like to believe that the Phillies are a little bit deeper in Triple and Double A when it comes to pitching, than to bring Tyler Phillips. I mean, he was here. He pitched well. He was one of those things until kind of teams figured him out. Then they got to him, and Tyler Phillips is what Tyler Phillips is. Tyler Phillips is a AAA pitcher. Nothing. There's really no more to say about that. Why did you bring him back in a September situation where, granted, he's going to be asked to be the 5th starter. Granted, he's only going to get maybe 3 opportunities the rest of the month, and then there's no need to have a 5th starter. I understand that. But when you have an opportunity to look at other arms, and again, I'm going to go back to Mick Abel. as being my candidate to just get an opportunity to see what he has. I don't know if he could have done any worse than this tonight, but I'm just wondering. He's had a great 3/4 second half of the season for Lehigh. Their season's coming to an end. Why not? Why was there anybody other than Tyler Phillips considered to come up here? So it makes me wonder what's going on and what the overall situation is for this team and what they're wanting to do with some of these players. But I wasn't thrilled when I heard about Tyler Phillips coming up. I was like, why? I mean, we already know what we got with him. And tonight was pathetic, man. 32 pitches in a half an inning. And, it was just really pathetic. Couldn't get anybody out. That just made the most dramatic, satisfying combination of situational month, at-bat length, at-bat quality, and cherry on the top of a night home run I've ever seen in Phil's history. No exaggeration. That just made the most dramatic, satisfying combination of situation, month, at-bat length, at-bat quality, and cherry on top, a night home run I've ever seen in Phillies history. So you're saying that was the best at-bat ever in Phillies history, Steve, that you've ever seen? There are a lot of at-bats in Phillies history. Pretty impressive. Lofty praise indeed. Strom got to his 500th strikeout of his career. He did most definitely right before he gave up the home run in the 9th inning. I knew they would win all along. Absolutely, Walter, me and you both. Actually, when I was watching this, and I saw the way they got to Bassett in the 1st inning, and I was frustrated right off the bat because they couldn't score more than one run. What was it? Schwarber leads off with a homer. It doesn't Turner double, or he gets on base right after that, and they just can't do anything with him. The Phillies grounded into 3 double plays tonight, which that's a trend that's on the rise for this team in the second half of the season, by the way. But when they got the Bassett the way they did in the 1st inning, I knew there was a 6-1 deficit wasn't going to be a problem for this team to come back from. The question was whether or not the Phillies pitching could hold the Blue Jays down, which the Blue Jays stink. I mean, let's call it what it is. They stink. Their bullpen might be the worst pitching bullpen in all of professional baseball in all the world right now. So I wasn't concerned that they weren't be able to get more runs. I was more concerned that they would be giving up more runs. And then when they went down 8-4, I was like, but to their credit, they fought their way back. Dodgers are 2-1 right now. Chris is giving you guys a score. Chris is doing round the bases tonight, everybody. Take some of that off my plate. Dodgers won. I thought we lost in the 1st. No, I didn't think so. Sanchez will be pitching tomorrow in the rubber match up there in Toronto. Yep, and we have a 3-game winning streak, or we've won the last 3, which of course, as Lou Brown will tell you, is a winning streak. And Alvarado looked good. Yeah, he did. He looked okay, man. He came back in a I don't know if it was a high leverage. It was, tense. Phillies were making a move. They needed Alvarado to come in and eat an inning, and he did. He did it without giving up anything considerable. So I'll take what he gave. But the question is, can we rely on Alvarado in the 8th inning with a 1-run lead? Because isn't that what he's here for? And that's the big question going forward. But no, it was a good start to him returning. We could have scored 15 runs easily in this game, but for the double plays and Sosa, how many did Sosa leave on base? Jeez. Phillips just not starting another game. Yeah, Jeff, Phillips looked pretty brutal. Sosa, to answer your question with leaving runners on base, he was 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. So, yeah, he did not do well. Obviously, he was 2 for 4 on the night. Or, I'm sorry, 1 for 4. But, again, being called to play, I thought Alec Bohm was supposed to play tonight. There wasn't the report coming out of the Braves game on Sunday that Bohm was going to potentially be back in the lineup tonight. Do we see Bohm tomorrow? Yeah, it was a little brutal watching him play. But and it was not just him. I mean, Harper also grounded in double play. Harper had some god-awful at-bats in this game. Some really bad at-bats. Bryson Stott continues to really struggle. I mean, again, and he's also batting 5th. I don't get why he's batting 5th, but he continues to struggle a little bit. And Rojas also hit into a double play. So it's not all on Sosa. But yeah, I've said this before. If we're looking to win a World Series, Armando Sosa is not the player that's going to carry you to a World Series, but they got to be better. They got to be better. Again, Chris is continuing with his around the base report here, so I am not going to do around the bases because you guys are doing it for me. At least Walker won't be on the playoff roster. Yeah, we'll see, Walter. We'll see. Yeah, there's no guarantee there. I mean, you can never have enough pitching, and who knows? I mean, he was on the roster last year and they didn't use him. Do they make that same mistake again? We'll see. I really don't know. It's going to actually be that's going to be an interesting development as we move closer, whether or not he's on the playoff roster. Because I think the only reason why he's pitching at all now is because of Dombrowski, right? Because Dombrowski doesn't want to look like he made a colossal mistake by bringing this guy here. So does Dombrowski force Thompson to put him on the playoff roster, and then once again we don't use him, so we waste a spot? That's going to be a very interesting look at as we get closer to the playoffs. And Eagles fans laughing. Jeff says, bring Cody Allard back up. Well, Mick Abel. Man, you guys are so anti-Mick Abel, man. You can't tell me even David Buckley Buchanan couldn't do better tonight. No, I can't. Why isn't Allard starting? I feel like he was doing fine. Allard's back in AAA. That's why he's not starting. Yeah, he's not with the team anymore. I don't. You're right. He's got major league experience. Again, this is September call-ups. The Phillies are looking at certain things. They want to see certain things going forward. I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. Allard. Obviously, we're not going to bring Mercado back up. Again, I'm gonna lobby for Mick Abel. There were better options. There was a better option than Tyler Phillips. There was. Let's face it, there was. And Tyler Phillips is what he is, man. He's a fringe MLB pitcher, but I feel that his career going forward will be bouncing around from organization to organization in AAA, which, hey, it's a decent living. You can definitely make a living out of that. No one is mistaking Tyler Phillips for Marty Bystrom. Nope. No, he's not. See, you better be careful, man. People are not going to understand these analogies here that you're making. Davis says Harper needs rest. Does he need rest because of the potential injury that he suffered tonight, or does he needs rest because he's still not hitting? You got to be more specific when it comes to Bryce Harper. Hey, MattyB, find the cloud in the silver lining. Absolutely. We're going to get into that here in a second. What a comeback. Great job, Phillies. Yeah, again, as I said, I don't necessarily thought that this team was going to lose this game, with the way that the Blue Jays were pitching. And the fact that the Phillies were down early, but it was early. And what I saw from them in the first inning, even though they left some meat on the bone, they were getting to Bassett. And they got to Bassett throughout the game. And then once they get into that Blue Jay bullpen, it was anybody's guess where the game was going to go. The big question was, where or how could the Phillies pitching handle? And it wasn't looking good, right? And we're going to break the box score down right now. Let's head over to that box score. The Phillies on the night, 10 runs, 18 hits. Third time this season the Phillies have hit 18 hits in a single game. 9 runs, no errors for the Phillies, by the way. 9 runs, 16 hits, and an error for the Blue Jays. And I don't know if you guys noticed this tonight, but what has happened to the official Major League Baseball scoring on errors versus hits? I have never seen something so, I'll use a political term, so woke in my life. What do you got to do these days to commit an error in Major League Baseball? There is such a friggin' discrepancy on what they consider a hit and an error. It would make Ozzie Smith is probably flipping out about this, the way these fielders are being judged by committing errors versus hits. It's amazing, man. It's frustrating. For the Phillies offensively, player of the game, hands down, Kyle Schwarber, 5 for 6, 4 runs, 6 RBIs, 3 homers. He did strike out, though, tonight. But as I mentioned, he raised his batting average 7 points, now up to 245. Trey Turner was 3 for 6 with a run, also a strikeout. Bryce Harper, 2 for 6, 2 strikeouts. And listen, yeah, you had a multiple hit night, but Harper really did not have really good at-bats. He didn't. He made weak contact. Ground into a double play at one in this game. Had that little little chip shot right in front of home plate. I mean, Harper is continuously coming up a little weak on these things, and it is concerning, man. It's concerning here. Castellanos was actually shut out tonight. No hits, but he does pick up an RBI. Bryson Stott 2 for 6, multiple hit game. JT Realmuto 2 for 6, or 2 for 4. When you look at a 2 for 6, do you consider that a good night? You know, they did have multiple hits, but they had 6 at bats. I mean, that's about what? It's about a 400 night, right? So, yeah, I guess that is a good night. JT was 2 for 4. Brandon Marsh 1 for 2. Sosa 1 for 4. And Cody Clemens, who came in as a pinch hitter, was 1 for 2 with a run scored. For the Blue Jays, Springer was 3 for 4 with 2 runs and an RBI. Varsho was 1 for 5 with a run and a homer. Vlad Jr. was 4 for 5 with 2 runs, 2 RBIs, and a homer. And that was, then you had Barger was 2 for 3. Was 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. And then Clement was also 2 for 5. The Blue Jays are a team that's absolutely heading probably in the wrong direction. Oh, they are heading in the wrong direction. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the offseason. Are Bichette and Vlad potentially looking to be moved? I think Vlad Guerrero would probably be traded before Bichette would be. But do the Blue Jays look to potentially move in a different direction, as this team doesn't seem to be moving anywhere for them right now? It'd be interesting to see what they do with some of their pieces. Springer, another piece that might be on the move this offseason. Very interesting to see what the Blue Jays might do as things are not really working out the way they expected. A dead last here in the AL East. Pitching wise, Tyler Phillips, a half inning, 8 hits, 6 runs. They were all earned. He did have a strikeout, but gave up 2 home runs, and he threw 36 pitches in a half an inning. Banks comes in and pitches a solid inning in the third, gives up 2 hits, but strikes out 3. Alvarado, the inning there with a walk and a strikeout, no hits or runs. Taijuan Walker, here he comes, gives up, pitches 3 innings, gives up 4 hits, 2 runs. They were earned, and he also gave up a home run. Ruiz, Kerkering, who gets the win, and then Strom comes in to kind of shut it down there in the ninth. Does give up that home run, though. For the Blue Jays, Bassett was 5 1/3, 10 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them were earned, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, and 2 homers. 92 pitches through 5 1/3. And then the vaunted Blue Jay bullpen comes in and just gets dismantled. Little, Prop, Swanson, Cabrera, Green, Burr, on and on and on. Just a model of an ineffectiveness as they can't hold the 6-1 lead. And there you have it. Phillies were able to kind of bang their way back into this thing. The Phillies on the night did ground into those 3 double plays. They left 13 runners on base, 4 for friggin' 19 with runners in scoring position. And that's a problem. I'm sorry. And that goes back to what I was saying about not necessarily being down on them for being down 6-1, but being down on them because they had an opportunity to kind of climb back into this thing a lot faster than they did. You can't leave opportunities out there, especially in October. You just can't do that. The Blue Jays were 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They left 8 on base for the night. They only grounded into 1 double play. Scoring summary, Schwarber would get the night rolling here for the Phillies with the homer in the first. Phillies could have scored more, but they didn't. But here come the Blue Jays against Tyler Phillips in a 6-run bomb of the first inning. Varsho would homer, a 2-run shot. Wagner would then knock in Guerrero to make it 3-1. Kirk would single in Horowitz to make it 4-1. Barger would homer, bringing also in Kirk, a 2-run shot, and there you have 6-1. Phillies' comeback would begin in the 3rd inning. Castellanos would fielder's choice in Schwarber to make it 6-2. Stott would then double in Turner to make it 6-3. And that's how your 3rd inning would end, but the Phillies left some meat on the bone in the 3rd inning as well. But here's Schwarber in the 4th inning to make it 6-4. But then Taijuan Walker and gives up the 2-run shot to Vlad Guerrero to make it 8-4 in the 6th. But here's all Phillies all the time at this point. Sosa would walk in, forcing in Castellanos in the 7th inning to make it 8-5. Clements would fielder's choice into Stott into score to make it 8-6. Schwarber would reach on an infield single in a very bizarre play. But that's what I'm talking about, the scoring system for errors versus RBIs and hits. And Vlad fell down, and it's just a weird play, and they gave him a hit. So Make it 8-7 Phillies, and then Kyle Schwarber with the big hit, the 2-run shot in the ninth inning to make it 10-8. The comeback is complete. Jimenez would make it close for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the ninth as he would homer off of Schramm, but that's all that she wrote. The Phillies hang on for the 10-9, come from behind victory over the Blue Jays. Tomorrow they'll look for the sweep in this short 2-game series. Phillies are now 82-56 on the season. They did not lose any ground tonight, nor did they gain any ground because both the Braves and the Mets won. So there you have it, man. 10-9. Where are we at here, man? Clemens and Sosa are the unsung heroes tonight. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. Isn't Kyle Schwarber like the hero? I don't know. Is there an unsung hero in a 10-9 game? I don't know about that. I read they won't bring Bone back till the Miami series. Yeah, as I said, Jeff, it was reported the other night there in the ESPN game. Buster Olney, I believe, reported it that he was potentially going to be back tonight. Obviously, he's with the team. We'll see what they do with that. Walker did okay, and Walker's garbage. Come on, Star Wars, man. Walker is a liability. He's a liability. Marty Bystrom went 5-0 in the month of September. Now, that's an unsung hero of the 80 team, is Marty Bystrom. Linda says, great win. Sorry, Phillips got to go. I agree with you, Linda. And then they've clinched a winning record. They've always they clinched a winning record a few games ago, man. So there you have, again, the Phillies hold on. Well, they come from behind, and then they hold on for the 10-9 win. All right, let's go back to this part here. Let's do my Broad Street bottom line. All right, the Broad Street bottom line tonight on the program is brought to you by the good folks over at Dolan's Bar at 24 East Sellers Ave in Ridley Park for Quizzo music, great times, and memorabilia giveaways. Make sure you stop down in Delco and give PJ a holler. The bottom line is got to be Kyle Schwarber, especially in this game. We'll talk this game specific. Again, all season long, he's been the most consistent hitter that I've seen with this team. He is, for like it or not, for good or for bad, the leadoff hitter. And, there's certain responsibilities that come from being a leadoff hitter. And those responsibilities are offensive production. Whether you define offensive production as hitting home runs, getting on base, hitting singles, doubles, triples, whatever you define as offensive production, that is what a leadoff hitter's job is. And tonight, Kyle Schwarber did it as pretty much as perfectly as it can be done in a game. 3 home runs, was it 6 RBIs, was the X factor in the comeback, was everything that you want from your leadoff hitter tonight. And I got to give the credit there where the credit is due. So you got to tip your hat to Kyle Schwarber. These types of games don't come around often. These types of performances don't come around often. And to be present tonight in Toronto, and that whole hotel situation they have where you can actually get a room that overlooks into the stadium, that's pretty badass. That's a great idea. But to be present tonight to witness that was definitely something that you would probably remember forever. So my hat's off to Kyle Schwarber because he was the Broad Street bottom line tonight for the Phillies, as the Phillies were able to come back from a deficit that, again, didn't seem to me to be too totally unsurmountable, but definitely without Schwarber's performance tonight, that comeback doesn't happen. So my Broad Street bottom line was, that's how you produce as a leadoff hitter. Again, like it or not that he's the leadoff guy. I don't like it that he is, but you got to give credit where the credit's due. And tonight, the credit is due. So good job for Kyle Schwarber as he led the way to the Phillies' victory. Now I got to do round the bases the right way. All right, round the bases here on this Tuesday night. Games that are currently ongoing. It is 4-3 Yankees over the Rangers. They're in the bottom of the ninth. The Dodgers and the Angels are tied at 2 in the top of the 6 as you were getting reports on that game. In the bottom of the 6th, it is 2-2 Mariners over the Athletics, or Mariners and Athletics. In the top of the 5th, it is 7-1 Diamondbacks over the Giants. Games that have gone final. The White Sox, who are mercifully on the road, lost tonight 9-0 to the Orioles. The Nationals beat the Marlins 6-2. Rays 2-1 over the Twins. It was the Mets over the Red Sox 7-2, so didn't gain any ground there. And it was the Braves 3-0 over the Rockies. Did not gain any ground there. Guardians 7-1 winners over the Royals. The Pirates 5-0 over the Cubs. And in 12, it was 7-4 Cardinals over the Brewers. And there's your scores on this Tuesday night in Major League Baseball. And here where it matters the most, Phillies win 10-9. Tomorrow we'll be looking for the sweep in this short little 2-game set. 3:07 start time at Rogers Center, or first pitch time. Christopher Sanchez gets the nod, and Bowden Francis will go for the Blue Jays at 3:07 up there in Toronto, as the Phillies will look for, I guess, a couple things tomorrow. Tomorrow will be an interesting game. 7 pitchers were used tonight by the Phillies. 8 were used by the Blue Jays. So, bullpens are now kind of taxed. Do the Phillies go for the win? And that's what I'll be looking for tomorrow. I'm not being facetious. Do the Phillies go for the win? Or is this game treated like one of those load management type games? Got a 4-game set with the Marlins on the horizon starting on Thursday. Your bullpen got pretty much gassed out tonight. There are some pitchers available still, but, the bullpen did get taxed a little bit. Harper got dinged up a little bit. JT probably won't play because it's a day game after a night game. What is is it the Sunday lineup tomorrow? Does Rob Thompson look to win this game? I say you have to. This race is not over, and every win counts, and the Phillies have an opportunity to sweep a bad team. You need to take it, but time will tell. We'll see. But 3:07 start time, first pitch, Rogers Center tomorrow. Christopher Sanchez against Bowden Francis. And there you have it. What a good comeback, down 6-1 and 110-9. Yeah, Robert, it was. It was a very good comeback. But did you not find it frustrating? I don't know if you watched the game, but if you watched it, you probably would have found it frustrating. That even though they were down 6-1, and I never feared that. I didn't, because Bassett was definitely not looking his best. And again, he's not 3 years ago, Chris Bassett. He's definitely, but he's still a good pitcher. But the Phillies were getting to him. But they were leaving a lot of opportunity standing on the base pads. So my concern wasn't the fact that they could come back. My concern was how quickly they could come back and how much they could sustain a comeback with their own pitching. And we saw that was kind of a little bit of a minefield with Taijuan Walker pitching today and company. So, hats off to the Phillies for hanging in there. Hats off for them for battling their way through this thing. And again, obviously, big time hats off to Kyle Schwarber for maybe his best offensive performance as a Philly, as he kind of led the way in the comeback with the 3 home run night. Let's go over and check some stats here real quick, and then we're going to sign off for the night. It's been a long day for me today. Phillies now are 2-0 in the month of September. Undefeated, baby. 138 games now on the season completed. 29-28 in the second half. 57 games through that second half. So with the 4 home runs surrendered tonight by Phillies pitching, they have now, as a staff, given up 89 home runs in the second half through 57 games. 89 home runs. That's been bothering me pretty much from the start of the second half. Watching those numbers just kind of balloon when it comes to home runs. Tonight, obviously, with 4 given up is not going to help you there. But just in some context, they gave up 64 home runs as a staff the first 81 games of the season. So almost, it won't be tripled, but it's well over half. Well over half given up at this point. So that's a concerning stat. And then they're grounded in double plays. They grounded into 52 of them in the first 81 games. They've now grounded into 38 through 57 games in the second half. Another concerning number that's been creeping up on the rise through the second half of the season. They've now grounded into a total of 90 double plays for the year. Their team batting average with runners in scoring position, based on their performance of 4 for 19 tonight, has now fallen down to 249. 249 on the second half through the last 57 games, against 277 in the first 81 games. So there are some things still that need to be cleaned up about this team. But when you come back 10-9, you definitely got to tip your hat. And as I said, I do that tonight for the Phillies because they held their ground. They came back. Their pitching did enough. And there were some pleasant news stories in that pitching tonight. Tanner Banks pitched really well. Jose Alvarado came in and pitched, that was a positive sign. Later in the game, Kerkering pitched well. Matt Strahm on the route to his 500th career strikeout. Gave up the home run in the ninth, but had a run to play with. But was pretty effective as well. Some of the, of course, are some of the warning signs with this pitching is yeah, it's Tyler Phillips. I mean, I don't think it's hard to say that we don't need to see any more of him. He's really only going to be here for a month, maybe 2, maybe 3 more starts, depending on how the rest of the season kind of unravels or unfolds. I should say unravels. And then Taijuan Walker continues to be ineffective in any role that you pretty much throw him out there on. So some good, some bad, some ugly, some good, some ugly, some beautiful, all that rolled into one. And that's what you get in a 10-9 game. It's not going to be a perfect game when you win or lose 10-9. Obviously, a lot of the, as I said in the top of the program, the baseball physics were out the window tonight early on in this thing, as it was one of them old-fashioned home run battles. 7 home runs tonight total in this game. And the Phillies found themselves on the plus side. And now we just got to focus in on trying to get the sweep and moving on down to Miami for this another pivotal 4-game set in the National League East. So don't forget, we'll be back here tomorrow night at the completion of the game, 3:07 first pitch time. Sal got you tomorrow. I won't be back on the final, man. Well, next week sometime. But yeah, so I won't be seeing you guys for a little while. I'm taking a little break. So Sal will get you tomorrow to finish out this series, and then we'll be off to the Miami series, and we'll go from there. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Phillies with the big time come from behind, hold on win over the Blue Jays 10-9. Tomorrow we go for the sweep and then on to Miami. Guys, have a great night. We'll talk to you later. Go Phils.